Hi, it's Sarah here from Thriving Solo, and today we're going to have a little look at some mindset myths. So, you probably have come across some of these myths before, and they sound responsible, but they drain you. So, we're going to have a look at 5 myths, why it is that they stick, and a simple reframe for each of them. I introduced the idea of mindset myths in the overview video I did covering practitioner mindset more generally. So this is a reminder that a mindset myth is a thought that feels true because it's common, not because it helps. But there's a real cost to it. It could be overwork, it could be uneven income, resentment, and that quiet feeling of being behind. So we're going to reframe these myths to make them helpful to our business, not harmful. Myth number 1 is I should be able to do this alone. And why it feels true is that you've been trained to be competent, calm, and capable. You might be the figure it out person in your family, which can be both a blessing and a curse. But it keeps you small and tired. You're the clinician, the receptionist, the biller, the marketer, the cleaner, and the therapist friend. Simple tasks drag on because they're done in scraps of time. And common signs that this myth is running the show: you keep rewriting your intake forms instead of using a decent version. You postpone help until you're making enough, but the workload blocks growth. So one way that we can reframe this as a more positive experience is I run a practice, so I use support like a pro. Some of the support options that may be available to you, and only you will know what will work for you. You could maybe use a virtual assistant for a couple of hours a week, a bookkeeper once a month. If you can't afford those at this stage, and that is one of those things that you'll have to work out, how much it would pay you back to have somebody who actually is proficient in that. But if you can't afford those, you might want to consider a template pack for your policies, emails, and intake. You could do a peer swap. You help with clinical notes, they help with marketing, or something along those lines. So using support like a pro lets me focus on my area of expertise, is what we need to turn that around to. So like I say, instead of feeling I should be able to do this alone, it's using support like a pro lets me focus on my area of expertise. Myth number 2 is that clients will think I'm salesy. I had a major problem with this to start with. It did take a while. And it's often because a lot of us have seen some really awful marketing out there that really does feel salesy, and we want no part of it. Healthcare ethics matter to us, and reputation matters. But again, this is one of those myths that can keep you small and tired because you under-explain your services. You're trying not to seem salesy, so you don't talk enough to your clients about what your services are and what your offers are. You avoid follow-ups and packages or rebooking prompts because it seems salesy. But then you end up with more cancellations, and you're waiting for clients to just know what to do next. So what we actually need to do is turn this around. What our clients actually need from us, okay, they don't need sales information, but they do need clear choices, clear next steps, and plain language. And it just helps to reframe then this as a positive experience, that clear offers reduce stress for my clients. And that is very, very true. You want to replace selling with guiding. So you could sort of say to them, based on what you've told me, here are two next step options. Or along the lines of, most people see the best change with X number of visits over Y number of weeks, whatever, is common for your modality. So a gentle script that you could use could be, would you like my recommendation, or would you rather choose from a couple of options? And just keep it to a couple. If we provide too many options, although that seems as though you're being honest and transparent with them, it actually just leads to decision fatigue. They've already got problems that they're dealing with, and you're then wanting them to make extra decisions on top. It's nice to offer options, but keep it to just a couple. You could say, if you'd like, we can book the next 2 sessions in now and then adjust as we go. So that's one way to not be salesy, but to deliver a better service to your clients. Myth number 3 is, I have to work non-stop. And it always feels true because you care, you don't want to let people down. There's always one more email, one more note, one more thing that you could do to build your business. But this keeps us small and tired because it burns through our energy, and then your patience, and then your joy. Your practice starts to feel like a hungry animal that needs feeding all the time. You're going to make short-term choices to cope, but they might not be the best way for you to grow your business sustainably. So non-stop work doesn't create safety, it actually creates fragility. A tired practitioner is going to make slower decisions and avoid planning, and in turn that's going to lead to mistakes. So the way that we need to reframe this is, rest is part of my clinical skill. And this is especially true because we may be needing to tell our clients to rest. There's a very good chance that we need to tell our clients to rest. And so we need to model that behaviour. We need to work in cycles, not marathons. Perhaps batch your admin time so that you can get regular tasks done in one sitting. Have a hard stop time for notes. Create a simple tomorrow list that you make notes on so that your brain can actually clock off. It's not trying to store all that information while you're still working. So instead of I have to work non-stop, then, like I say, think rest is part of my clinical skill. Myth number 4, there aren't enough patients. And why it feels true is you can see gaps in your diary, and so you assume that demand isn't there. You're hearing scary news about costs and about people cutting back. And so, yes, it's worrying to feel that there aren't enough patients. That's really not true, especially with the way our medical services are at the moment. There's more than enough patients to go around. How this keeps you small is that you perhaps panic post online, offer discounts, and then feel awkward. If you're dropping your prices, if you're overbooking or taking on poor fit clients, these are all ways that you're responding to that idea that there aren't enough patients, but they do not help your business in the long term. So a reality check, Demand exists, but attention at the moment is messy. People need reminders, they need clarity, and they need trust. And so we need to reframe this to make it, my job is to be easy to find and easy to book. So it's not that there aren't enough patients, it's that they need to be able to find me and need to know that I am the best person for them. So focus on the controllables. Settle to one clear niche or focus, and I'll link to the session that I did on niching, so that you can use that as well. You want to create a simple referral plan. Ask, remind, thank. Again, we've got some work on referrals that I'll link to. You want a booking system that doesn't feel like a maze, where you set things up so that it's very clear to the client what the next step is. You're wanting practical actions that don't require being an influencer. You can just ask every happy client, if a friend needed help, would you feel okay passing on my details? You can send one monthly email, a tip, a reminder to book, and an update on your availability. You can update your Google business profile with some photos, update the descriptions if you need to. So, like I say, it's not that there aren't enough patients, it's that you need to be easy to find, easy to book. And our final myth today is, I can't set boundaries. And why that feels true is that you're trying to be kind, you're trying to be flexible, and you're worried about complaints or bad reviews or losing clients. However, if you don't set boundaries, then late cancellations can wreck your week. After hours texts become normal and eat into your rest time. And you spend emotional energy managing expectations that you actually never set in the first place. The big truth is that boundaries protect the client experience, not just your sanity. By setting those boundaries, it's not just that you're setting them for that person, you're setting them up for the next client that's coming in after them. So predictable rules feel safe to most people. And the way we can reframe this as a positive experience is that boundaries make my care consistent. So swap guilt for clarity. Rather than just allowing people to text you at any time and expect an answer, set things up to say, I reply to messages Tuesday to Friday, 9 to 4, or whatever your hours are. Make sure that they know cancellations within 24 hours are charged because that time can't be refilled. There are exceptions, so you can let them know that if there's something that is absolutely cannot be avoided, maybe you choose not to charge a cancellation, but it's not the norm and they need to know that. You could say, I don't provide clinical advice by text. Please book a quick call if needed, if you're finding yourself responding to emails and texts at all times. So to make it easier to hold that line, put your policies, for these in multiple places. You might want to put them on the booking page, in the confirmation email, within clinic signage. And use one calm template response. Copy and paste is your friend, just make sure to change the name. So putting it all together, like I say, the doing it alone myth we address by acknowledging that support is professional. The sales myth, clarity is care. The working non-stop myth is that rest protects your practice. The not enough patience myth is that you need to be findable and bookable. And the no boundaries myth we address with consistency builds trust. So what I'd like you to do this week is pick one myth that hits the hardest, choose one reframe, and then take one small step with that this week. That's all that you need to do. Please comment below and just let me know which myth shows up most in your practice. Is there something that I've not addressed? Because I can always add to this at a later date. And thank you for stopping by. Please take a bit of time out to rest and recuperate. Make sure that you're not doing the, non-stop myth. And, I look forward to sharing more tips with you again soon. Thanks for stopping by.